Have you ever considered what it would take for 9 experienced hikers to abandon the safety of their tent in the middle of the night, in sub-zero temperatures, only to meet their end in the unforgiving wilderness? Imagine, if you will, the harsh, rugged landscape of Russia's Ural Mountains in the late winter of 1959. This is the setting of our tale, the scene of an incident that has baffled investigators and armchair detectives alike for over 6 decades. Here, 9 hikers, well versed in the ways of the wilderness, embarked on a journey that would ultimately lead to their demise. Their tent, found abandoned, slashed open from the inside, their bodies discovered scattered in the snow-clad terrain, some barely clothed, others bearing inexplicable injuries. Their tragic ends inspire questions that echo through the years, unanswered, haunting. As we delve into this chilling story, remember, this is no mere fiction. This is the haunting mystery of Dyatlov Pass. Our tale begins in January 1959, with a group of 10 hikers embarking on an expedition to conquer the northern Ural Mountains. A band of eager adventurers, their hearts pulsating with excitement, their spirits buoyed by camaraderie. They were led by Igor Dyatlov, a seasoned and respected leader known for his grit and determination. Their aim? To scale the perilous heights of the Otorten mountain, a journey that would test their mettle and push them to their limits. The frigid winter air was biting. The snow underfoot crunched with each step, but their spirits remained unbroken. The world was a vast white canvas around them, a tableau of nature's raw beauty. They trekked through rugged terrains, crossed icy rivers, and navigated through forests blanketed in snow. The days were filled with grueling physical exertion, the nights with shared stories and laughter around the campfire. This was their world, a world where they felt most alive. Yet the wilderness is unforgiving. It does not care for human plans or ambitions. One of their own, Yuri, fell ill. His body, betraying him in the face of harsh conditions, left him no choice but to turn back. It was a crushing blow to the team, their number dwindling from 10 to 9. But they were determined to press on, their resolve unshaken. Yudin bid his comrades farewell, his heart heavy with disappointment and concern. Little did he know he was the lucky one. The group continued their journey, pushing deeper into the heart of the Ural Mountains. They were 9 souls against the might of nature, armed with nothing but their courage and their will. The path ahead was fraught with danger, the weather unpredictable, the terrain unforgiving. Yet they pressed on, driven by the lure of adventure and the promise of triumph. Unbeknownst to them, this would be the last time anyone would see them alive and well. When the hikers failed to send a telegraph as planned, search parties were dispatched, leading to a discovery that would baffle the world for decades. Imagine this, if you will. A tent found deserted on the slopes of the Ural Mountains, slashed open from the inside. It was as if the occupants had been in such a rush, such a panic, that they'd cut their way out rather than use the entrance. A chilling image indeed. More puzzling still, the hikers' belongings were left behind, their provisions untouched. It was as though they had fled in haste, leaving behind all that they carried. The search parties pressed on, their hearts heavy and minds filled with a dreadful anticipation. Soon, the first of the bodies was found. 5 of them, scattered haphazardly in the snow, some a mile away from the tent. Their final resting places told a story of desperate flight, a frantic scramble down the mountainside in the freezing cold. But why? What could have driven them to such extremes? The circumstances of their deaths were strange, to say the least. Barefoot and underdressed in the biting cold, their demise was a grim testament to the harshness of the Siberian winter. Yet their lack of clothing was puzzling. Why had they ventured out into the snow, so ill-prepared for the elements? And then there were the injuries. Some of them bore horrific wounds, too severe to have been caused by the elements alone. These injuries, coupled with the state of the campsite, painted a picture of chaos and terror that night on the slopes of Kolatsyakl, the mountain of the dead. But the story doesn't end there. Oh no, far from it. The remaining hikers were unaccounted for, their whereabouts unknown. The search continued, days turning into weeks, as the icy wilderness kept its secrets close. But the mystery would only deepen with the discovery of the remaining bodies. This chilling tale was far from over. The Dyatlov Pass incident had only just begun to reveal its chilling secrets. In the following months, the remaining 4 bodies were found under even more bizarre circumstances. Unearthed from a ravine buried under 4 meters of snow, these bodies bore signs of trauma that were inexplicably severe. 3 of the trekkers had fatal injuries. The force required to cause such damage would be comparable to a car crash. These injuries were internal, mind you, with no external wounds, no scratches, no bruises that might typically accompany such trauma. One of the women was found with her tongue and eyes missing, an injury that seemed out of place, even in these strange circumstances. Not a sight for the faint-hearted, I assure you. More perplexing was the presence of high levels of radiation detected on their clothes. An anomaly that simply couldn't be explained by their environment or their activities. The official investigation by Soviet authorities concluded 6 of the group members died from hypothermia and the others from physical trauma. An unknown compelling force was cited as the cause of the incident. A phrase as cryptic as the events it was supposed to explain. What could this force be? An avalanche? Yet the investigation reported no signs of an avalanche. The tent had collapsed from the side and not from snow piling on top. The bodies didn't show the kind of injuries sustained from the crushing force of an avalanche. Besides, the footprints in the snow were clearly visible, contradicting any avalanche theories. Could it have been indigenous people, the Mansi? But why would they attack a group of harmless hikers? And what about the radiation? Could it be military involvement, secret experiments perhaps? Or something even more outlandish? So many questions, so few answers. The authorities seem to be in a hurry to close the case, to put it all to rest. But how can one rest with so many unanswered questions? Theories abound, each more fascinating and terrifying than the last. With more questions than answers, the case was closed, leaving behind a trail of speculation and theories. Over 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass incident continues to perplex investigators and enthusiasts alike. The enigma of what happened on that fateful night in the Ural Mountains has spawned a multitude of theories, each more intriguing than the last. One such theory is that of an avalanche. It paints a picture of a sudden violent snowslide, catching the hikers off guard, forcing them to flee from their tent in the biting cold. But this theory has its detractors. Some have pointed out the lack of physical evidence of an avalanche at the site, as well as the questionable likelihood of experienced mountaineers camping in the path of potential avalanches. Then there's the infrasound theory. This suggests that wind funneling through the pass could have created a phenomenon known as Kármán vortex street, which in turn could produce terrifying infrasound. This may have induced panic in the hikers, driving them into the deadly cold. Yet this theory also has its critics, who argue that its effects would have been too localized to affect all 9 hikers. Military testing theories have been equally popular, suggesting that the hikers unwittingly stumbled upon a classified Soviet test site. The evidence, the strange injuries found on some of the bodies, and the reported sightings of glowing orbs in the sky. However, concrete evidence linking the incident to military activities remains elusive. And of course, there are those who believe in paranormal explanations. Tales of the local Mansi tribe's angry spirits, unidentified creatures, or even extraterrestrial encounters have been woven into the fabric of the Dyatlov mystery. Recently, in 2021, Russian authorities revisited this chilling conundrum. Their conclusion? An avalanche coupled with hypothermia. But many remain unconvinced, pointing out the unexplained injuries and the fact that some of the hikers were found nearly a mile from their tent. Regardless of the conclusions drawn, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries of our time. So we are left pondering, what could have driven these 9 experienced hikers to such a tragic end? Let's revisit the enigma. They were all experienced, they knew the terrain, they knew the weather. Yet something led them to their untimely demise in the chilling cold of the Ural Mountains. The tent, slashed from the inside, their bodies found scattered and undressed in sub-zero temperatures. Some bore severe injuries, yet no external violence was found. The official explanation, an unknown compelling force, only deepens the intrigue. Was it an avalanche? Unlikely, for there were no signs of one. Could it have been hypothermia-induced madness? But then, how do we explain the injuries? Or was it something else, something beyond our comprehension? The countless theories only add layers to this enduring mystery. As we part ways, remember, the chilling mystery of Dyatlov Pass continues to echo through time, a grim reminder of the deadly power of the unknown.